Hey, this is Pamela Wasabi, and welcome to the Happiness Recipe Summit, where top experts are revealing their secrets so you can create your own recipe for happiness. And today's vital ingredient, you guys, it is so important. Hear me out. Today's vital ingredient is the psychology of food and eating for our happiness. Now, just soak that in for a bit because I know you're right there with me, just realizing there's things you've ate in your life where your happiness just clunked, just dropped. I know there's been so much. I spent the first 2 decades of my life, I was always sick, my stomach always hurt, I was irritable, and I really didn't know why. But a lot of that was because of the types of food I was putting into my body and how I even felt about the food. So, we're going to talk about intention about the food and the types of food and the importance of it for our happiness. You guys excited? We're super excited. I'm very honored that I have the guest expert speaking today, Miss Pamela Wasabi. Thank you for being here, Pamela.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And I am with you. This is so important because we are suffering of a massive disconnection with who we are.
Yes, yes, you guys. So please tune in. I always say grab your blue pen if you got one, your paper, take copious notes, you guys, because, and you can always replay as well. But take these notes because we're going to have a lot of nuggets of gold just spewing onto you today, okay? So take your notes. I'm going to get into her lovely bio. Pamela Wasabi is an author, poet, radio host, and entrepreneur. Her background stretches from the whereabouts of the psychology of eating, integrative nutrition, Eastern philosophy, to plant based food artistry. She is a mother, an oracle card reader, and a lover of life. Wasabi is the founder of a local bakery in Miami, bringing the message of self love to the table. Ah, I love it. And proposing a new approach to her food with her motto, hashtag eat more beauty. Look that up. Eat more beauty. In January 2020, she published Women of the Moon, a poetry book filled with wild feminine prose, instigating the liberation of the soul from the oppression imposed by the ego mind. Woo, I gotta read this. Her radio show, Nourishing the Feminine Soul, invites us to understand relationships, situations, and occurrences from the archetype of wild women. The show expands on themes such as wellness, psychology of eating and food, relationships with self, and the constant dance between the eternal feminine and masculine energies. Woo! You go, girl. Welcome, Pamela. Thank you. That's great, Ham. We're going to jump right on in here. Can you share a little bit more of your story and how it led you to opening this health food bakery?
So you are going to see how everything just falls into place. And, we might think that one thing doesn't have to do anything with the other when it comes to food or relationships or your career or your passion or your dreams. But in actuality, everything has to do with who you are, right? We are not linear people. We are this dynamic, constant movement, or entities that are always kind of like changing, right? So all our choices really um, have an effect on who we are, what we do, what we say, and it affects us, right? So my story, and I'm gonna try to summarize so we can get into the juicy information. I suffered from a thyroid condition growing up. I went to the doctor when I was 19 because I was very depressed. Um, I didn't know what that meant back then when I was 19 years old. And my mother took me to the doctor, and this physician just asked me a couple questions, and I said yes to several of those relating to my life and my relationship or perspective to death. And then she said that I was depressed. So she recommended that I had my blood checked to see if my hormones were acting the right way. And then the blood test proved that I had some sort of hormonal disorder, and it was kind of like directing myself into endocrinologist, to be seen by endocrinologist to see if I had a thyroid condition or some sort of thyroid imbalance. And I went to the doctor, and yes, they discovered that I was hyperthyroid back then. And a little bit, a little parenthesis to understand what the thyroid is. The thyroid is a gland that sits on your throat. It's a butterfly-shaped gland, and it produces hormones. And these hormones regulate every single system in your body. So if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling happy, if you have good digestion, if you don't have good digestion, if you are sexually active or not active, but if you're sexually aroused or not, like everything has to do with your hormones. We are hormonal beings because we are emotional beings. So uh, closing the parenthesis, and also kind of like side note, whatever happens on the outside affects us in an emotional level. So when you are depressed because some circumstances on the outside, your body's going to react having these fluctuations in hormones inside of you, right? Which is what I was experiencing. I was very depressed because I was in a city that I didn't understand. I was culturally shocked, and I couldn't find myself or my home. So yes, I was depressed, but this is not a clinical sickness. This is an emotional sickness. This is an existential question that we have with ourselves, and it really takes you to ask some questions to get to the answers and to understand what is it that you're going through. So put it simply, when you are depressed, you are seeking help. You're seeking understanding, something that is bigger than you. All right, moving forward, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroid. That meant that my thyroid was overproducing hormones. So in the long run, what could have happened is that I could have suffered a heart attack. I am producing more hormones that I need. So if I don't have enough, my body's gonna start taking vitamins and minerals from other places. So it can lead to osteoporosis. So it's like a whole kind of like domino effect. When something's not right in your body, everything it's affected by it. Um, but I didn't have any symptoms. So being 19 years old, being completely disconnected to what my body was or what my body represented to me, and being very sad and frustrated with the world, I just couldn't connect one with the other. Someone tells you are sick, but your body is okay. Yeah, you don't see any sort of signs. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, I cannot relate with what you're saying. So the doctor sent me to take a couple of pills. I did it for 3 months. Then he passed away. I ran out of pills, and I forgot about it. I completely forgot that I have a thyroid issue. I really didn't understand what it meant. Nobody explained it to me. The doctor didn't sit down and said, look, this is what's going on with you. I am telling you everything that I know about the thyroid right now because I've been through it. I've researched the whole story and phenomena that is to experience something physically in the body because something emotionally it's calling for your attention. So it was very like 50-minute type of consult. Take your pills, see you in a couple months or whatever, or call me if anything happens. And so my condition got untreated for about 10 or 12 years. And then moving forward, or fast forwarding to 12 years after, I got pregnant. I and then when I went to the doctor to get my blood test, they told me, Pamela, you have a thyroid issue. You gotta take care of this because it can be very detrimental to the pregnancy, to your health and your babies. So I was like, okay, and I need to pay attention. I was 10 years older, a little bit more grounded, still lost in this world. I'm not gonna claim anything. And back then I was just young. I was a rebel. I was just rebelling against everything. I think that I still had that depression inside of me that was flushing out in a way of rebellion, right? And misunderstanding. I felt misunderstood, and also I was in a very aggressive relationship. So all of this also lands in you. Like I was saying before, every single choice has a direct effect on your health. So back then, I was experiencing the hyperthyroid issues. So it also happens that I went vegan in about the same time. So I lost a lot of weight, and I associated that with becoming vegan. But I cannot tell you, what was the precursor effect to me losing weight. But I did lose weight, and I was very erratic in my behavior. I will cry desperately sometimes. I felt very angry. So I had all these very explosive emotions inside of me that I couldn't control. And then add to that, being in a relationship that I was not serve me, and really not having the foundation to say this is not serving me, I need to get out of it, and just decided to stay. And so it's so many things. It's a lack of understanding really sometimes on what's going on, and seeing things for what they are, instead of like putting all these different shades on top of it and call it something else.
Yeah.
But when the doctors told me that something in me, an instinct, a motherly instinct, which is what I call that wild woman, that feminine intuition that you have within, that creative force that somehow pulls everything through and pushes you to the right direction, right? So it was a very instinctual move of mine to say, wait a second, I need to help my body. That was like my first, I'm like, okay, you're telling me that I have a thyroid issue. I want to know why. I couldn't find answers from my doctors. They will say the same thing. There's no precursor issue. We don't know why you have a hyperthyroid. You were born like this. You were born, malfunctioning. Like, they were telling me all of these things that really didn't resonate with me. And back then, I didn't know anything about nutrition or health or anything whatsoever. So I just kept asking, how can I help myself? How can I help my body? How can I, have a beautiful pregnancy? What can I do? What is there for me to do? And so it happens that a friend of mine recommended this nutrition school, and I enrolled in the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And that was my first step. And taking that course, I came to the realization that in order to control my health, I had to control my food. And in order to control my food, I had to cook at home. So that was that was the catalyst for my transformation. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know anything about nutrition. I didn't know anything about health, but I had some sort of like instinct inside of me that said, go here, go there, try these, experience, be curious. And so I started cooking every night after I came home after work. And I learned how to cook vegan, organic, gluten-free, no sugar. I mean, like, call it. I had it. I was making all this like amazing food. It was coming out of my small kitchen, my small oven, and I was just, I fell in love with that process. And by cooking, I healed my hormone disorder, my hormone imbalance. I was able to regulate my hormones, and I was able to give birth at home. It was a 2-hour birth in water, and I breastfed for 4 years. The doctors told me I was not able to breastfeed, that I had to be on pills for the rest of my life, that they had to radiate my thyroid out, and that I couldn't have a home birth either, that I had to be connected to machines to regulate my heart. And so all of this gave me a lot of strength. All of this gave me a lot of, it was like an awakening to what was possible and what was at the reach of my hands, which is everything. We have so many possibilities. And moving forward from my birth, 6 months into it, I decided to change careers. I was in the fashion field before. I closed my store, and I said, let's see what happens. And then I got a call. They offered me a job to make desserts. I took it, and the rest is history. I worked in the restaurant industry for about 4 years, and then I quit, and I decided to start my business, and that's how I created my bakery.
Woo! That is a phenomenal story, like a powerhouse story. I love it. I know a lot of us can relate. We get information, whether it's from the news or doctors or whatever, and if it doesn't resonate, like a lot of us feel what you felt right in that moment, like we're getting all these diagnoses or things, and there's just something that just kind of, pushes off on us. And you followed that feeling, that knowing within you. And there, one breadcrumb to the next, here this beautiful life unfolds for you. You get better and better, have this beautiful home birth. I had 4 home births. So I was like cheering you on, girl, like, yes, yes, fire. We have this. It's natural, it's innate. We are powerful, right? And so what you're spewing onto us today, this beautiful wisdom, is that really, you guys, I don't know how many times you eat a day, but like at least 5 times a day, I'm making a choice of putting things into my body, right? We all are. That's either going to take from our happiness or add to it, our health and our happiness, right? So this is a big, big topic we're talking about. Pamela, can you dive into, like, validate that, like, how much does food uh, contribute to our happiness or lack of?
Of course. So, as you were kind of like summarizing my story, I realized that I had a major transformation that really led me to be the person that I am today and to eat the way that I do, or cook the way that I do, or approach food in this certain way. And that my concept of food changed completely. Whether before it was so tragic to eat, right? And so many of us have this very disrupted connection with food, where we think that food is the enemy, whether we think that food is going to make us fat, whether we think that food is going to give us a stomach ache, whether we think that food is disgusting, or we don't even know what we're eating, or maybe food becomes a box in the microwave, or we always leave food for the last minute of the day and we eat right before we go to bed. So we have to understand that we actually have a relationship with food, which is the reflection of our relationship with ourselves. So
Ooh.
the transformation that I had was not so much on, okay, let's take from food to achieve happiness. It was more about, I love myself, so I am just gonna bring love into my body, because that's my understanding of food. So, if we twist that concept, instead of food being this on this like negative side of the thermometer or thermostat, right? We can say it, we can see food more as fuel. We can see food as energy. We can see food as life. We can see food as love. And whatever we think that food is going to become. So therefore, that's why my hashtag is eat more beauty, because you are not what you eat, you eat what you are. We have been kind of like, it's so common to say, oh, you are what you eat, right? And we have it all over the place. So it's so common to understand that that is the understanding of food, but no, it's actually, you have an intention when you put something inside of you, because you are recognizing that as a part of you, right? So that is really how can you find happiness in food. Just to kind of like bring it back to your question, it's about what's the understanding that you have for food, right? And if that understanding, that bridge between you and food, it's a kind of like rainbow looking one, right? Then your life is going to be vibrant in the same matter, right? But if we have this kind of like very fearful connection with food, where we think that we are going to hurt ourselves with food, then food is going to become the saddest place for us to find a life source. And bottom line, we need food for as a source for us to sustain our lives. Right now, that is how it works. Right now we eat, and then that food has information, it communicates at a cellular level with our bodies, and it becomes part of us, right? So it's very important to be selective about what we're putting in. But before being selective, and before following some sort of guide, or following some sort of like, you know, kind of like 10 items to eat so you're happy and healthy, it's more about, okay, how do I understand food, and how do I understand myself, so I can allow, or I can be discerning what belongs inside of my body and what doesn't.
Mm, that is so good. As you're talking, I know a lot of like triggers are going off for probably a lot of people because of we have past trauma, we have past experiences, right? We're bringing in our whole past of the types of foods that we did eat, or maybe being forced to eat, as a child, like finish your plate, or, whatever you had eaten that just didn't mesh with you, hurt you. And so the brain doesn't forget these things, right? It like kind of paints a picture or writes a story that we're like, ooh, food, like, ooh, I'm going to get fat, or I'm going to break out, or, something like this. And it's really, we're being present, as what I'm hearing you unfold here is that we're changing our relationship with the food. We're looking at it differently now, right? We're falling in love with food again. We're kind of having to rewrite our programmings with food in that moment. So like at your next plate, are you loving this food? Because it's about to love you. You're going to have this lovely dialogue with the food now, which is so foreign for many people, right? It's foreign. It's very it's different. We kind of scarf food down, most of us, right? Or we don't even know what it's doing to our body, and half the time we don't like it.
Yes.
But what she's saying right here, you guys, this is very powerful, and it's not mainstream, and we're really pushing this to be more mainstream because it is your intention towards the food. You're about to transform that energy of the food and how it's going to translate in your body.
Yeah, but it's very important to understand that it all comes before the relationship with food. It comes from how you're relating to yourself, because there is no food in the planet for more divine that it is, that it comes from this like magical tree that is going to save you or cure you or heal you, if you don't have that understanding of you. Like if you don't see yourself as a beautiful being, if you don't see yourself, if you don't love yourself radically, nothing in this world can change that. Nothing in this world can put that information inside of you. So to accept food in a beautiful way, first we have to accept ourselves. We have to accept in what place in our path we are. We have to accept our darkness, and we have to accept our light. We have to accept that sometimes there is depression, there's sadness, there's tragic, there's sometimes we're upset, and sometimes there's happiness, there's light, there's joy, there is love, there is so it's more about understanding that we are these dynamic beings, and that we're very, we are emotional beings. That means that we're always in constant motion. That's what the word emotional means, in motion, right? So we are these dynamic beings always looking to be better. That should be kind of like the process of our life, always trying to be a better person than we were before, because we are evolving, right? So, but that evolution has to come from a place of love, of loving yourself, to wanting to go there, right? So that intention is what sets anything on your life. That intention is what sets if that plate is gonna fill you up with love and happiness and health, or that plate, and it can be kale, it can be a salad, it can be a green juice, it can be a ginger shot, it can be anything. But if we don't have the understanding that what we're doing for ourselves is for ourselves only, it's not going to have any effect on you whatsoever.
I believe that. I agree with you 100%. There's a quality of things that you're putting into your life, but it's also the quality of how you feel about your life. And if both of those two things, right, are not on track with each other, I don't care how organic or gluten free you're eating. If your intention is poor on that food and it's not going to serve you, and you hate what you're eating and you hate yourself, that's the type of energy we're going to put into our body, right? That's
Yeah.
the outcome.
There is a condition that is called orthorexia, that is very common in the health foodies, kind of like community, or yogi community, or spiritual community even, or just people that want to be better. And orthorexia, it's this obsession of making things right and perfect. So it's this obsession to always have your plate to be balanced, the right amount of calories, nutrition, the right amount of food. You gotta wash the plate, the food, this many amount of times. And what I want to point out is that this disorder, and what it's showing is that you are not doing it for the purpose of fulfilling yourself and loving yourself. You're doing it with the purpose of looking for some sort of recognition on the outside. You are looking for having food heal you and cure you and save you, instead of you taking that first step, right? So we base ourselves so many times in different labels and diets and trends and, fads to say, oh, I am healthy, so I am okay and I'm safe. But no, healthy and happy and aligned means everything. It means falling down and standing up, and falling down and standing up, and having yourself, holding yourself by your own hand throughout that entire process. So, to your point, it doesn't matter how healthy it is if we don't have the understanding of what is it that we are doing and why, right?
Yeah.
So it all sprouts from the concept of recognize yourself first, because nobody else is going to do that for you. No diet in this planet is going to do it for you.
No, 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 no. We're not eating for happiness. How can we switch to that? It's we're being happy and then we're gonna eat. It's like that saying of we don't get happy because we're singing. We sing to
Because
express this
we're happy.
happiness, right? It's like, so I'm trying to find that way in food. Like,
It's so that's where you see that this relationship with food becomes an expression of how you relate to yourself, right? So let be food a celebration of who you are,
yes.
right?
This is gold. This is beautiful. I'm loving it, you guys. I know you're resonating with this. You understand this. It's all intention. It's all relationship. Now, I do want to get into there is some technical things to this. I love talking about the energy, but let's also be transparent on the type of things that are out there, and maybe you can shed some light on just giving some examples of, hey, if you're starting out right now, then maybe let's talk about the food aspect. These are some things that you should consider researching, possibly avoiding, or these are some things that you should be looking and researching to add into your life. Is there some of those products you can share with us?
Yes. I mean, I know you want to go straight to the,
Yeah, I
the
do.
tangible answers, but I do have to start with
Okay.
the fact that it all starts with curiosity. You
Yeah.
need to have in my book, the Wild Women book, which is coming out in 2 weeks, the book expands on our relationship with food, and it brings in the concept of reconnecting with our divine feminine energy in order to heal where we are, right? And so I explain in this book that a drop of curiosity in your life towards anything is like a drop of blood to a shark in a 5 mile radius in the ocean. It
Mm.
just takes one drop of curiosity for you to wake up and kind of like reframe or recalibrate where is it that you're going, right? Recalibrate that GPS. Um, and then through curiosity, you're gonna realize that there is no one diet fits all. There's no one product that everyone's going to like. So there is this bio individuality that we need to have very we need to realize that we are individual beings, and there's a lot of aspects to our lives that dictate how we need to eat, how we process food, how we digest food, what things we like, what things we don't, right? There's our cultural background, there's our emotional connection with food when we were growing up, there is the way that our parents or our mom cooked at home. It matters where you are in the world. If you are in a very cold place, if you eat fruits, you're gonna completely freeze yourself to death, right? Whether if you are in a very tropical climate, you actually need a lot of fruits because they have a lot of water and it actually cools down your body, right? So that drop of curiosity and trusting that same innate intuition that we were speaking about before, which is actually your divine, your feminine energy, your mother energy, your creative energy, that is going to point out to the right direction. But so that drop of curiosity is going to make you align to what really serves you, instead of following so many kind of like statistics and trends and magazine reports and what the doctor is saying or whatever is going on social media. So it really takes to kind of like block or funnel some of the information and trust yourself in that stance. One thing that I can tell you, if you really want to start transitioning into a better way of eating, instead of cutting things out, add things in,
Mm.
and then the things that you don't need are gonna naturally fall off from the plate,
I
right?
like that. Yeah.
Because it has to be, you have to always enjoy the journey. if you're doing this out of punishment, you are not going to be successful. And I've heard many coaches, and this comes from a very masculine perspective. And the masculine is always serving to, or is always looking to get somewhere, right? Very fast and without distractions. And so in a lot of in this mentality, they tell you, oh, you have to wake up really, really early, because if you wake up really, really early, like at 4 a.m, and you work out for an hour, then that is gonna help you burn this amount of fat, because you're burning the fat from the night before. And so you wake up at 4 a.m, you work out for 1 hour, and then during the day you're gonna be exhausted when it becomes 1 p.m. in the day, and you are not understanding why. And then you are going to start feeling fatigue, and fatigue is going to take you to another place, and then that other place is, you eventually going to end up sick again. But you're like, but I am doing everything right, I'm waking up at 4 a.m, and I'm working out, and I'm still gaining weight. Well, yeah, you're gaining weight because your body's telling you this is not working out for you. So it always has to come from a place of love and not punishment. Like punishment and has to completely leave your plate whatsoever, because punishment is kind of like throwing how you call it, a boomerang. Yeah, and it's gonna come right back at you. Like punishment does not work when it comes to relating to yourself, because your body is sensitive. Your body likes to play. Your body is soft and cuddling. Your body needs love and nourishment has nothing to do with punishment.
No, no. I love that. So where I'm going with this too, because you guys, this is so important what Pamela is saying. I mean, really knowing that we have to please ourselves. We shouldn't, anything we're wanting to integrate in our lives, we can't do it in a way that we have to take all this stuff out. We have to work so hard at it. It just won't stick. It won't stick, and we won't get the results that we're looking for. There is, like she said, not one diet fits all. I was also that person who tried everything under the sun. Nothing worked because you're efforting, you're resisting like your own true abilities to communicate with what you need, not me, not her, not anyone, what you truly need. So there is no damn one diet or one thing or 10 things you need, not at all, but you know exactly. And I think it evolves. Have you found that, Pamela, like as we evolve our needs too?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've been, you know, I've been eating plant-based for about, how old am I? Oh my God. I think it's been 12 years already. I mean, it's so normal for me that I don't even have it in mind. But, eating plant-based does not mean that I go to somebody's house and I cannot try, a piece of cheese, or I don't eat pizza with my daughter, or, I completely uh, I get grossed out by meat. It's just not something that resonates with me whatsoever. But I don't have these rules and boundaries, and I don't think that I am a bad person because I ate a piece of cheese, right? So there is no bad or good in eating. This is not a religion. This is a way of discovery of who you are. So you have to be very sensitive to what your body is saying.
Yeah.
And you touch upon a very important subject when it comes to relating to you. And there is this concept of pleasure and pain. And just to add a little bit more regarding this, the way that the human being evolves is through this kind of like it's like a it's like a guide, right? That we have when it comes to pleasure and pain. So we evolve by the things that allow us to experience pleasure, and we run away from the things that causes us pain. So in this way, back in the day, before civilization, we knew, maybe cold causes us pain, so we got to move to the warmer places, on the planet. Or so we have this way of molding, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. And if we fall back again into this pattern of punishment, what happens on a like what happens internally is that your body's gonna sense a threat, right? Anything that is pain, anything that is painful, anything that is not pleasure is going to put your body in this parasympathetic response, nervous response, where it feels that it's being threatened by the outside world. And when you feel that you are threatened, then your body is going to do anything to keep you alive. And one of those resources is to pile up weight, because the body feels that you are going to starve to death. And so listen to this. A lot of people that diet, they put their bodies in this stress response, and instead of losing weight, they're going to add up more weight because the body feels threatened. A lot of people that work out like crazy 2-3 hours in the very early mornings and very late at night when they are very tired, they put the bodies in the stress response, so they're going to keep piling up weight. So if you create like an equation of, if you see this as an equation, pain plus pain or pain plus punishment just equals stress response, equals sadness, equals, physical illness, it equals depression, it equals, I mean, it does not equals happiness whatsoever, right? Whether if you are kind of like leaning towards pleasure and enjoying yourself and being kind to yourself, that is like the basic concept. Being kind to yourself, the body is going to change, and the body is going to become whatever you want it to become, because the body gloves your spirit. And if your spirit is this radiant, vibrant soul, your body is just going to simply mold you in a way that you can be whatever you want to be in this world.
Right, right, absolutely. I'm like, yes, I agree with everything you just said there. I've seen it, I've felt it. It's something that I've witnessed tens of thousands of people do in my line of work as well. It's intention is so important. What we're putting out there, how we're feeling about ourselves. This you have a universe, and it's about to mold towards you. Now, the thing is we're talking about food and how it's entering our body on that aspect. So on this side, I know you don't want to go into this just yet, but there is just things out there, and I don't know, I'm going to lay it out there. There's junk food. There's
Yeah.
junk food out there, right? And even though we're putting out this love and stuff, and guys, when we're putting out that love, our bodies may naturally say, don't go there, or maybe drive past it, or don't eat this, or like throw it up. It does these natural things to try to get away from it, right?
Yeah. No, you're right, and I see your point. And you read about me, how I'm always balancing this masculine and this feminine, right? And the feminine is all about this intention. The masculine is more about, okay, let's go straight up to the point. So to answer you in this
Mhm.
sense of balancing my conversation, I can tell you that the first thing that you got to do is to understand the ingredients. Okay. Don't let yourself get caught on the labels, on the packaging, because marketing can be very tricky. Marketing can tell you natural flavors. It can tell you, uh, yeah, made by nature.
Yeah.
Even the brand it name, sorry, even the brand itself can be named pure nature, or
Mhm.
nature loves us all. And so we kind of like uh, catch that. We are kind of like that fish that gets tricked, and we're like, oh, it is called all natural, or nature is beautiful, so it's going to be fine. But we need to take responsibility, and that is another aspect that is lacking in our relationship with our bodies and ourselves, right? We leave everything to this marketing or industry, marketing industry and advertising industry and food industry, thinking that they're doing the best for ourselves, when in fact we are not realizing that food is put in the aisles like a product, and for them their incentive is to sell more, so they will do whatever to catch your attention. And then our responsibility comes in, where the first thing that you got to do is read the ingredients and make sure you understand every single ingredient in the label. Do not read the caloric information. That is shit. That does not work, because everyone has a different way of processing food. So if you really want to understand what a calorie is, the calorie is the equation, or the calorie is the caloric value of a food, of how fast it gets burned, right? So they burn food, and according to how fast it is, it's going to tell you how many calories it has. But what happens is that we all have a different like fire in our stomach. We have a different way of processing and digesting food. So according to that, then the caloric value in the food will change. So it's completely pointless. It's something that they did back in the 50s or 60s when the whole heart attack and, sugar was really becoming or entering the homes or family and causing like completely disruption of health, and they blame everything on fat, when in fact fat is very important for our bodies, our health, our skin, our hormones, and we women need fat in order to have a healthy menstruation cycle. um
Ooh, yes, girl.
yeah,
Yes,
right.
I love it.
Going back to the ingredients is the most important thing that you got to read. Forget about the caloric value, the nutritional information. It's completely pointless. um, and just rely, understand ingredients. You don't know an ingredient, Google it, and take it from there. Like I said, curiosity is going to take you places, so trust that. But yeah, read the labels and educate yourself, and that's the best way that you can do to educate yourself, instead of like following what is being put out there, because whatever is being put out there on the media, Instagram, social media, newspaper, whatever, is to sell you something. Whether you are creating your own way of investigation, if you read a label and you understand ingredients, you know what to do.
Yes, we can make our decisions individually by just reading that label, you guys. And I remember going through a point in my life, I would Google every single thing. Like, just try this out, you guys. Look at that ingredient and put in, just start researching every single thing, and you will be very surprised with what you find in these foods. And like Pamela is saying, this innate wisdom is going to come out of you that's going to say, let's try this route, or let's do this, or how about this? And the curiosity of what she's saying is just going to lead you to developing the right recipe, the right foods for your body, what you want, what you don't want, just by researching this stuff. So it's not one shoe fits all. We're not going to tell you you need to be gluten free or whatever it is. Research those labels, research the ingredients, stop looking at all the numbers, and go straight to the ingredients. That is
Yeah.
powerful. You know why, too? Because a lot of these places, these fast food restaurants and things like that, it's hard to get an ingredients list, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
wonder why.
they give you the calorics, the nutritional facts, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, I got this, and it has this amount of fat and sugar and
Hmm.
saturated fat. So okay, but that does not tell you anything whatsoever.
No. So
That's
think about
numbers.
that, you guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's more about the ingredients. What is this made out of, right? Where are the ingredients coming from? So, you start getting deeper, or you start going into this rabbit hole and you realize, what, let me just make it myself and go straight to the vegetable aisle and get a broccoli and, buy some rice and whatever, and start experimenting. So, that's what I keep, kind of like supporting this argument of curiosity.
Yeah.
Be curious, and you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna end up making your own recipes. That's what I did. That's
That's
how I
exactly what she did. She's now making these beautiful recipes for others. Like, and
that's
that's what it's going to lead you to do, you guys. I love
and
that.
yeah.
That is so powerful, hun. We've talked about so much, and I think we've kind of went over these questions just naturally. You know, you guys, I want you to replay. There's all about the psychology of how we're eating, our relationships with the food, which is really our relationship with ourselves, and then researching, getting super curious, researching the ingredients of things we are putting into our body. Once we figure out who we are, we're loving ourselves. Now, what are we doing? Are we really loving ourselves? Right? We're gonna start looking at the food. Um, Pamela, are you channeling anything right now that you're feeling the audience is needing to hear?
uh, I think that it's a process of discovery. I think that once you start, the first story is food. The first story is food, and food leads you to a million different places. You know, because you're cleaning your body, you're cleaning your energy, and suddenly you're gonna stop feeling so druggy and heavy and tired and fatigued. So, you know. again, it's like a domino effect. And just to go back to the beginning of this conversation, when I was saying that, everything is tied together, you cannot pull one thing from everything else. We are these dynamic beings, and there's like, I call it houses. We have all these different houses all around us, and we got to make sure that all our houses are balanced, and there's a sense of harmony when you come into them, right? So that has to do with your relationships. It has to do with what you choose to do in the world, like your career or your mission of service. It has to do with spirituality, or having a sense of self-love. It has to do with exercise and movement. And finally, which is the first door, is nourishment. So once you enter that house, you're gonna keep going inside of, like, let's say, this castle, and find all these different doors, and you're going to start gravitating towards the ones that align with who you are and where you are in your path at that moment. So opening the door of food really leads to a beautiful world and a beautiful transformation, where the only thing you're going to accept inside of you and around you is just, the understanding that you have for yourself. So, food, might be tangible and physical, or you can see it, but it's also, it's an energy. It has an aura to itself, and that is where you're going to start looking and seeking and wanting to have around you at all times. So, food is the first door, and it leads to this beautiful world where you can find so many things, activities, people, interest. It's amazing. It's amazing how one thing leads to the other, and there's a whole world that sustains that type of living.
Mm. Yes. I'm like, yes, the whole time you're talking. Yes, yes, I do. We all are, because even though some of us may not preach this or speak these exact words, I feel like it is us. It's something, it's a knowingness that all of us have within us. And so it's just being awakened more and more that we hear this and it's coming out. Um, I don't feel, I think we covered it. We covered it, you guys. You're innately smart. You're brilliant. You have your own diet, your own flow, your own naturalness about you that you're going to eat what's right for you. Just keep being curious. Keep looking at those ingredients. Keep looking at you. Go in. Figure out the things that make you feel love, make you feel connected. And it's just one breadcrumb to the next. You guys, that I think that is the most powerful message out of this. Shoot, let's get into your free gift. Let's go right in there. You guys are gonna be. I'm excited about this one.
A free gift. I believe we set up a code.
Oh, it's a code, you guys. Okay, I love it.
So the code is I love myself. Let's keep um, entertaining and really embracing that thought. And you can receive 25% off on anything in my website. We do ship nationwide, and you can enjoy of all my baked goods. And yes, let's get it going like that.
Yes, I love it, you guys. Her site is amazing. Where you found this video, there's going to be a link to her website and many different links to get a hold of her. See all the amazing things she's doing on her radio show and her books. So this is a major discount. I love this. Thank you so much. What do you got? You got something else?
I know I was gonna sneeze, but it
Oh,
went away.
I'm like, wait, there's more? No.
I do want to share that my book, the Wild Woman book, can be found in my website or on Amazon. And this book's an invitation to really heal our relationship with our bodies and food. And the big theme of discussion throughout the book is how we need to reconnect with this feminine energy. And one thing that came in as you were talking is that one of the attributes of the feminine that we have lost over time is our ability to trust ourselves. And it's something that is lacking in our relationship with food, because we are looking for outside sources to tell us how to do, what to eat and how to feel. And so reconnecting with this feminine energy and really embracing that trust and really taking the step into trusting who you are can really liberate and unlock a lot of emotional baggage that we are carrying, and finally liberate ourselves from that kind of like lower ego mentality that we carry, throughout. So yes, the Wild Women book, it can be found on Amazon or my website, and we love to, maybe speak later about this, but I do really recommend this book. It's my life's project, my life's purpose, and it's out there.
It's out there for all of us of the world to expand with. Thank you so much, Pamela. You guys, I want to hear from you. Like, what transformations, what cognitions did you have with this energy and information pouring out? Please reply to this email. I will send them off to Pamela. She would love to hear your guys' feelings about this and revelations on it. Thank you so much, Pamela, for your time, your wisdom, your powerful powerhouse energy. I just loved it today. You rocked it. Thank you so much.
Uh, no, it's my pleasure. Yes, this is my mission of service. Like I said, all my journey got me to align to what is with my purpose, right? And so, the energy that you feel, it's me being completely powered and empowered to deliver this that I discovered that helped me heal, and it needs to be shared because we're all in the same journey at the end of the day. We just experience certain things on an individual way, but we need to hold each other from our hands and walk together. So it does require this collective awakeness, to just enjoy life, my friend.
To just enjoy life, be happier, to grow. We are co-creative. We didn't come here to struggle or to be by ourselves. We came here to be happy and to live amongst each other, grow with each other. And this, you guys, this is the very first, like I said, the first door into this is nourishing ourselves. Right, nourishing ourselves, and with this food and this self-love and with our plate. This is so important, you guys. Check out our book, check out our site, replay. So much love to you guys. Thank you for viewing us. And if you love this ingredients, you're gonna love the next one. Stay happy as much as you can because we got some more coming for you. Keep smiling. Take care.